This is Backstage Bay Area, your all-access pass to the local music scene. Now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Today on Backstage Bay Area, singer Stella Heath brings us inside the Billie Holiday Project, a vivid, intimate tribute to Lady Day's music and courage, just ahead of her run of shows at SF Jazz. We'll hear two performances from the project and talk about phrasing, storytelling, and how she's shaping these sets for the Joe Henderson Lab. Joining me now is Stella Heath. Hey, Stella, welcome to Backstage Bay Area.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you could be here. Before we step into Billie Holiday's world, let's start with yours. What did your musical upbringing look like? What was in the house? Who were the early musical voices that made a lasting impression on you?
I grew up in a pretty rural town. It's gotten bigger in Northern California called Petaluma, California. And I grew up with just my mom, and she had a really great musical sense. So she was always kind of introducing me to different kind of music from all over the world. So I was introduced really early on to like Buena Vista Social Club. Louis Armstrong was a huge favorite of mine really young. And like Edith Piaf and Tom Waits and Bob Dylan and all kinds of stuff from her youth as well. I think Louis Armstrong was really the kind of catalyst that opened me up into the world of jazz. And through listening to Louis Armstrong, I listened to Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday. And it wasn't until I went to high school that I got really deep into kind of exploring jazz. I went away to a boarding arts high school called Interlochen Arts Academy when I was 16. And that's where there was like a music library that was down in the basement of one of the dorms. And I would go and check out all these jazz records and really kind of got deep and started to educate myself on all of the jazz greats that influenced me.
Right.
And as far as singing, I started singing when I was 8 years old. I started in a choir, and I didn't know that I had any sort of musical ability. I just went in and sang and tried it out. And the choir instructor kind of said, well, you sound really good. Let's move you into the advanced choir. And she also offered to do music lessons with me. So I didn't have a lot of money growing up, and so she offered to do a work trade situation. So I would trade sewing her curtains and things like that for lessons. And that was awesome. And she introduced me to a lot of awesome music. And she came from classical background. So I studied classical voice and really loved it. But she also introduced me to jazz songs from the Great American Songbook and musical theater, as well as songs in Italian and German and all kinds of things.
That's quite a range.
Yeah.
I understand you also had some acting skills in Shakespeare. How would you say that shaped the way you sing jazz now?
Yeah, so Shakespeare, I went to school, so at Interlochen, I went to school for acting because I'd seen a production in San Francisco of The Phantom of the Opera, and I thought I wanted to be a stage actress. And so I got heavy into acting and dance and all of that. And so I went away to school for acting, and then I went to Syracuse University also for musical theater, and then switched my major to straight acting midway through. And that's when I really got deep in Shakespeare. And there's actually some interesting parallels between music and Shakespeare, because the way you use your body and your instrument is similar, because you're oftentimes sustaining these really long phrases and thought. And there's the iambic pentameter, the meter, and then there's just like so much musicality in how you speak Shakespeare that it kind of makes a really interesting parallel. And I also like singing in a lot of different languages. So in a sense, Shakespeare is like, you have to translate it, even though it's in English, for audiences. But I think that my acting training, it informs what I do in the fact that I kind of, stories is front and foremost for me. So whether it's crafting the arc of the entire show of the Billie Holiday Project, or if it's like down to the story of a song, that's what I really try to stay really faithful to, is trying to create a story and trying to tell the story to my best ability.
Well, let's move to Billie Holiday now. When did her music first feel personal for you? And what was the spark that became the Billie Holiday Project? What story did you want this band to tell that you couldn't tell in any other way?
I guess I was in college that like I really started to listen to Billie on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's always kind of pulled me toward Billie is like, she's got this ability to really make you feel a song. There's a way that she captured the emotion of it in a way that helped her audiences or her listeners feel the emotion of it alongside her. And I think that's like kind of the mark of a really great artist. And so that's really, of all the great jazz singers, Billie's like my deepest love because of that ability to really connect to the universal human emotion. And so I was just kind of in a transitional place in my career, and I wanted to create something that kind of brought in storytelling and also brought it in history, which I'm very like, I really loved telling the story of history. And then this singer that I feel very influenced and close to. So that's really was my impetus to start the Billie Holiday Project. And Billie in particular, because she sang Strange Fruit, had the ability to also tell a story that I felt was very important to tell, which was how race acts then and now in our society. And kind of if art can be the mirror that holds up to society, I think that her story, she would oftentimes, not always, but she would end her sets with Strange Fruit and never do an encore. It is powerful, and that creates a powerful show, and it's still powerful now.
Right.
So that was really what I wanted to bring forward.
All right. Well, I'm going to play our first musical clip from the Billie Holiday Project. The song is called No Regrets. You said the goal is intimacy, letting the lyrics sit right in the listener's ear. What can you set up for the song that I'm about to play that matches that goal for you?
Well, I'm not sure this is the most intimate song.
Okay.
But it's a fun song.
Yeah.
Billie recorded this under her own name. This was a little bit after her years with Teddy Wilson, and she did great recordings with Teddy Wilson, so it's still on the earlier side, and it's definitely got that swing vibe to it. And I think I do a show also called From Billie Holiday to Edith Piaf. And I like to incorporate this song in that show because, of course, Edith Piaf did a song called Non, je ne regrette rien, which is basically no regrets in French. The songs are very different, and Billie's is much lighter.
All right. Well, let's listen to it now. This is No Regrets from the Billie Holiday Project, and this is Stella Heath here on Backstage Bay Area.
Still in
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was singer Stella Heath performing No Regrets from her Billie Holiday Project. Stella is our guest on Backstage Bay Area today. Stella, one thing you draw out there is Billie Holiday's way of telling the truth in the smallest turn of phrase. How do you think about inhabiting that phrasing without imitating?
Yeah, from the beginning, it was really a goal of mine not to imitate, to be informed by Billie's musical choices and I can imitate and understand where she's singing from, but to never lose myself. So I feel like I've found a good balance, and there are times when I play with it within the show. And a song that I think you're going to play is I'll Be Seeing You. And that's one where a lot of times I'll sing it pretty like true to me in the beginning of it, and then I'll kind of turn it when we repeat the second half of the song and kind of put more Billie into it. But it's been really fun, and it's definitely added to like the way that I think about my voice is having different tools in my toolbox that I can draw from. And so something that like you might call creaking that Billie had kind of in her voice, which is kind of like a, into kind of a talking place.
Yeah.
And then a little bit back in her throat and kind of swallow words in a way. And so like, it's fun to sometimes incorporate that into my own singing, but it's really, to me, it's just added to my own toolbox. And then her phrasing is actually deceptively hard. So like she often backphrased. And so you just have to be really present with the meter. The band, she had a way of floating above the meter of the band in her own kind of rhythmic world, which is hard to capture sometimes, but it's really fun once you find that place with the band.
I'm curious, what is backphrasing?
Backphrasing, so it's like there might be a couple beats in a measure, and then she would enter, right? So she didn't enter right with the first beat of the measure, which maybe it was written that way, but she would wait a couple beats and then she would enter. So like, I could give you an example.
Yeah.
If you're going to sing All of Me, like, all of me, why not take all of me? And Billie would do like, all of me, why not take all of me? If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, interpret that for the listeners a little bit more. What does that do to the song? Does it give the band a different kind of cue or something?
I think it just gives this like, it's laid back. Like there's something about Billie's way that she was really kind of laid back with the music, but she was never out of place. It was like her own interpretation. But she was never behind. She never fell behind rhythmically. She just reshaped the melody. And oftentimes she was really influenced by Louis Armstrong as well. And if you listen to a lot of her early recordings, like she will take a melody, and she also had a really small vocal range. So she would take a melody and she would distill it like Louis Armstrong would down to a couple notes, right? And so she'd stay on one note for a whole A section.
Sure.
But she just had a unique way, even from her really early recordings, of interpreting the written melody.
Fascinating. That's great. As you mentioned, we're going to play I'll Be Seeing You up next for our second listen. What drew you to this as a centerpiece arrangement, emotionally or arrangement-wise?
I think this is like a super nostalgic song, and it gets people in the heart. Like oftentimes I'll announce that we're singing this, and there'll be a kind of collective like, oh. With the audience, like there's just something so timeless and nostalgic about this song. It's also one that she's pretty well known for. And so it's a beautiful song as well, musically. And so it just seemed like one that is a really good one to kind of bring in that intimacy, as you talked about before. This is a very intimate song.
Well, let's give it a listen now. Here's I'll Be Seeing You by Stella Heath on Backstage Bay Area.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe the chestnut tree, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, and everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, when the night is new. I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you.
That was Stella Heath with a performance of I'll Be Seeing You from her Billie Holiday tribute. Stella, let's talk about the band you're bringing into the Joe Henderson Lab at the SF Jazz Center. Who's in the lineup for these shows, and how are you capturing that late 1930s, 1940s feel?
I really gravitate toward traditional jazz and jazz from the 30s and like from the 20s to the 40s. So I've really tried to seek out musicians that also really love that period of music. And in creating this band, I've worked really closely with pianist Neil Angelo Fontano, who is pretty young, but came to music kind of chronologically. So he was really inspired by early traditional New Orleans jazz and greats like Gershwin and some of the great American songbook composers. And he's been just like such a great collaborator in creating this. And as we've been expanding it to be a big band, he's been writing a lot of the arrangements and has just this very cool sensibility of like traditional jazz counterpoints, which I really like and like incorporating into the music. We've been working with for several years now, like a fantastic reeds player named Robbie Elfman, who he plays clarinet and saxophone. So he'll be on the gigs as well. And fantastic bass player and a good friend of mine, Daniel Fabricant. He plays with all the greats in San Francisco. I think he's been with the band almost the entire time. Drummer is named Spike Klein, and he's based in West Marin. And who am I forgetting? Oh, Ian Shearer, my longtime collaborator. I've been with him, playing with him for like over 10 years. We're about to release a duo album, actually. He's a great guitar player up here. I live in the North Bay area. He lives up here as well. And he's a fantastic player. And we are often inspired by the kind of Ella Joe Pass sort of stuff. And then one of the nights we're going to be having a trumpet player with us, I'm new to working with him. His name's Justin Now. He's based in Sacramento.
Oh, nice. What a lineup.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. The band is super great.
For someone coming to one of your Billie Holiday tributes for the first time, what will they experience sonically and narratively at the show? Are there any lesser known gems you love to surface alongside the classics?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because I love the 1930s stuff, which a lot of people don't know as much. So songs like No Regrets, If You Were Mine, all these like super wonderful, kind of quirky 1930s tunes are going to be incorporated. But there's also known ones like God Bless the Child. And as I said before, we always end with Strange Fruit. And so like I said, to build an arc to the show, how I have it kind of constructed right now is I'm starting, the shows are going to be different at SF Jazz. So I'm starting each of them with, Billie recorded 2 songs initially with Benny Goodman. So I'm starting each show with a different song that she recorded with Benny Goodman. So her first recordings, and then kind of chronologically and narratively building an arc to end with Strange Fruit, with stories about Billie's life incorporated in between the songs.
All right. So repeat showgoers that might catch 1 or 2 or more of your shows, they'll hear a different story each time?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Completely different set with the exception of Strange Fruit.
All right. So let me remind our listeners, the Billie Holiday Project with the Stella Heath Sextet comes to SF Jazz's Joe Henderson Lab on Saturday, September 6th, with 2 shows at 7 and 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, September 7th at 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. For tickets and more information, go to sfjazz.org, and we'll put a link in the show notes for this podcast. And for folks who want to hear more or follow your projects, Stella's website is stellaheathmusic.com, and we'll also include that link in the podcast show notes as well. Stella, thanks for bringing Billie's music into such close focus for us and spending time with us ahead of these shows.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to Backstage Bay Area. I'm Steve Roby. Today's guest was Stella Heath. Hear this episode, past conversations, and show notes, including ticket links, wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the show.
Hey musicians, would you like to be a guest on Backstage Bay Area? Just email the host and let him know when you'll be playing in the Bay Area. The address is backstage.sfbay@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning into the Backstage Bay Area podcast. Don't forget to visit us online at backstagebayarea.com for more insights and stories. Be sure to join us next time for more engaging conversations with local talent and touring musicians. Until then, keep the music alive, and we'll see you backstage.